Welcome to Pearlmania 500, the 1-year anniversary Vault edition.
Oh, yeah? It's been 1 year?
Yeah, we've been over a year now.
That's crazy.
Of doing the podcast.
I totally did not realize that.
It's been over a year.
Dang.
And we have a lot of things coming up. But this is a Vault episode. I currently have the baby strapped to me.
Yeah.
So we're going to do our intros.
Yep.
And then we're going to play this amazing episode with Valerie Dimambro.
Oh, this is such a good episode.
It's such a good episode.
We had such a fun time with her.
Yeah, she taught us so much about it's such a crazy topic. Let's go ahead and get started.
There's a place where you can't stay when the world gets too insane. Yeah, when the world gets too inane, tune in to Pearlmania. Brony talks and pony jars and saying that Sonic race just fitness scams and grifters, damn, and various other miscellanea. So where's this place where you can stay to let those Pearlmans save ya? Pearlmania, Pearlmania, Pearlmania. 500. Take it away, Pearlmans, and remember to smile.
Thank you so much to His Name Was Dusk. As we always like to remind you, because he was on last week's episode.
Yeah, he did a great job.
He has his new album coming out.
Yeah, he was an agent of chaos for sure.
He definitely was an agent of chaos. Everyone really, really enjoyed his episode. His Name Was Dusk will return, as he always will return.
Yeah.
And he and I are currently working on what? I can't say?
No.
But we have surprises coming.
You're so bad at surprises.
I'm terrible at surprises.
Every Christmas and birthday, this comes up. How bad at surprises you are.
This is why I'm a last minute guy.
Yeah, because if you buy it or any gift early, someone gets the gift early.
Yeah, because then what's the point? Oh, let me go get this amazing gift. And now I'm going to sit around like a monster and wait for you to enjoy it.
No.
I could just give it to you now and then go find another gift that's almost as good. Nowhere near as good.
Nowhere near as good.
But we're here today. We're here. We got the baby.
Yeah.
He's strapped to me. You're actually here in the room.
I'm in the room.
The baby is pooped. He has been fed. He's had a little bit of sleep. He had a burp.
We're on best behavior.
He is strapped to my chest. Maybe we'll make the show image this week. Him strapped to my chest.
Yeah.
But it's been a wild couple weeks.
I can't think. Well, it's been 2 weeks since I was on.
2 weeks since you were
I'm trying
on.
to think of like what's happened in the last 2 weeks.
What's happened in the last 2 weeks is you and I have been trading off on shifts on who stays awake all night. Both of us have been going slowly insane.
Yeah.
We cheer when this child poops.
Yeah. That's what.
We cry when he cries.
Yeah.
And then,
that's fine and normal.
And now Taylor Swift's going to the Super Bowl.
I'm so excited for her.
Yeah.
And what's her boyfriend's name again?
Okay. Wow. I would just watch, because just for the listeners, I just watched the AFC Championship game with the Ravens versus the Kansas City Chiefs.
I was actually on the Ravens side. I wanted the
Ravens to win too. And mine was because of TikTok core edits.
I did see those.
There were so many. I cannot stress, if you're not on the side of football TikTok or just like in general of what's been going on, I need you guys to know that there's a crew of men whose brains just broke.
Yeah.
Many of them are between the ages of 24 and I want to say probably about 38.
Okay.
They have spent tens of thousands of dollars on DraftKings and other online sports betting apps.
No.
They had a specific belief on the way this season was going to end.
Okay.
And as far as they're concerned, Taylor Swift and the Kelsey brothers, alongside of the NFL, just changed the script at the last minute and ruined sports betting forever.
Oh, no.
Even though the Kansas City Chiefs just constantly go to the Super Bowl.
I was going to say, they're always there.
They're always there. They've been a dominant team for a very long time.
No, I went in Baltimore. Baltimore is like, it's like a little slice of Philly when you're there.
It is.
They got this almost a similar accent, same kind of trash people I am.
Yep.
You know what? I was like, if our team can't be there.
Same halal cart.
Yeah.
Same. That's what I ate for my birthday last year. I ate at the halal cart across the street from the
Everybody's
arena.
always a little grumpy, but if you're nice, they'll become nice. That's very Philly energy.
Yeah.
I wanted a small city.
Deodorants locked up at the Rite Aid.
Well, yeah, that's kind of being in the city.
I know, exactly.
listen, I'm sad that they didn't make it, but it looks like right now Detroit, another fucking city.
A city that needs it.
A city that needs it.
And so here's what's going to happen is we're about to see the Taylor Swift heel turn because...
Hey, Taylor Swift is not a heel turn.
No, it's going to happen because when Detroit needs a Super Bowl win.
Yeah.
It's a rough city.
I know.
It's been through things, right? And now Taylor Swift is going to get on her private jet, fly back from Tokyo mid-tour to kiss Travis Kelce in the end zone after he defeats Detroit in the Super Bowl.
Oh, no.
And then it's going to be a whole thing.
No, it'll be
So
fine.
if y'all
That's
are
not
wondering
gonna
how we ended up in the nightmare that we're going to be in 2025,
Mm-hmm.
The first step was Harambe, and then the second step was Taylor Swift's private jet flying back from
Stop
Japan.
blaming Taylor Swift for everything.
I'm not.
You know
I'm
what
joking.
I want to blame
I'm joking.
people for? I want to blame something. I want to blame fake teeth.
Fake teeth?
I've been mumbling about it quietly for days now.
Veneers.
I'm so tired of veneers.
I like, because we've been watching a lot more stuff from the 90s.
Yeah.
And nobody had fake teeth then.
Oh my God, refreshing.
It was so nice.
I'm like, look at everybody's teeth are a little wonky, maybe a little yellow. Some are bigger than others. I deeply miss real human teeth at this point.
I miss people. Listen, I miss people having fat on their inside of their cheeks.
Yeah.
Let's leave the buccal fat where it's supposed to be. Somebody woke up and he agrees with me.
Yeah.
And that cry.
That's because he has the chubbiest cheeks of all.
That's true. And that was the sign that we need to say hello to our Patreons.
Oh, hello.
Let's meet our team leaders.
We have 6 this week, and nobody sent me any messages saying that the names need to be changed.
Cool.
So let's go ahead and get with it. Starting off, we have not_A_Fed.
Likely story, Fed.
Yeah, likely story Fed.
Hey, hon.
Hey. After that, we have... Now, this is the thing. I wish I had a chime.
Yeah.
For like a sparkle chime.
Yeah.
Because it's sparkle, Stephanie, sparkle.
You know
with the
what?
little sparkle emojis.
I love it.
I'm obsessed with it.
Hey, hon.
Hey, hon. How are you, Stephanie? After that, we have Leah Myers.
Hey, hon.
After that, we have Verity Langer.
Hey, somebody named Verity?
Yeah.
Wild. Hey, hon.
From Australia.
Well, there's that Colleen Hoover book. That's the only Colleen Hoover book I ever read was Verity.
Oh, yeah?
And when I finished it, I powered through it aggressively, angrily. I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And I got to the end, I closed it, and I threw the book, and I said, never again, Colleen Hoover.
Yeah.
Never again. But I never actually met anyone named Verity.
Yeah.
So, hey, hon.
Well, it's the internet.
Welcome.
This could be a fake name.
What? I don't remember the character's last name in the book.
I don't know
It
either.
might be. No, I'm just kidding.
and finally, we have the blue bassist.
Oh.
Well, this baby's starting to get a little fussy, Mrs. P. So why don't we go ahead and get the episode started? We have Valerie Dimambro. Why don't you give us her plugs?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So you can find Valerie on Instagram at Cosmo_DDI.
Yep.
And she has let us know, and we already know, that if you really want entertainment, you should follow her pets account, which is Animal_house. It's spelled ANNINMAL_house.
We're going to put all of it in the show notes.
Yeah, but I have to tell you, her pets are so cute. She's got so many. Brienne, Velma, Ludipus, Little Edie, and Duke. Incredible content going on over here.
Yeah, it's good stuff, and we love her. We love her husband as well. We're going to talk about that more as the episode gets started.
Mm-hmm.
So without further ado, let's go ahead and throw back to us before we had this bundle of little potato sack joy in our arms. Let's hear these young kids learn all about her topic.
Pearlmania, 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 Pearlmania.
500. We're back.
We're here.
You're hearing us way in the past.
Or I'm in the future right now.
Well, they just heard us in the future, which is actually their present.
Okay.
But this is actually our past.
Yeah.
But right now we're recording it at our present, planning for our future.
Wow.
Yeah, and we have a special guest this evening. This mid-afternoon. But whoever listening, they could be listening to it at any time. It could be approximately 4:30 in the morning, and they are on public transportation, heading to a job that they don't like.
Yeah.
And if that's you, then make sure that you join our Patreon,
They could be
patreon.com/Pearlmania500.
stuck in traffic. They could be stuck in traffic trying not to rear end the person in front of them who's being a total dick on 76.
Yeah, or because of the unseasonably warmness of the world, it could be mid-January and they're mowing their front lawn.
The Farmer's Almanac said that this year we're going to get snow. I'd like you to know.
Yeah?
Because
you know what's fun? Can I tell you something? By the time this airs, we will actually know whether or not the Farmer's Almanac, because we're recording this in mid-September.
Yeah.
But enough about that.
Okay.
Enough about playing with the idea of the concept of having to listen to this in mid-January to make an intro for this show. I'm going to be so annoyed. I'm like, just get to the point. Introduce the guest.
So introduce the guest.
Okay, we have Valerie Dimambro.
Yeah, woo!
Yay! Oh, wait, hold on. I can do this button.
Hell yeah. Air horns all day.
Yeah. Hi, Val. How are you doing?
I'm so disappointed. I thought we were going to act like it was mid-January and be like, oh, Christmas was so wonderful.
No, fuck
the
that.
new year. It's 2024.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I want to point out, as of recording this, is September, right?
Yeah.
Like if we
That is a fact.
Yeah. Thank you. If we recorded this in June for September, right?
Yeah.
We would not have known that like the sky had been on fire, that the former president had been indicted for. Like, there's so many things
That's true.
Yeah.
that we can't pretend. Like Christmas might not have happened.
Mitch
right.
McConnell might die.
Listen. Oh, what an intro. Okay. So we have Valerie on the show because obviously for the listeners who already know at this point, we put this episode in the can because we're on maternity leave,
Whoop, whoop.
paternity leave,
Sure.
parental leave.
We're taking a break.
Yeah, we're doing all the different things. So we have Valerie here, and Valerie's going to tell us, she's going to do a lore dump for us,
Yes.
which is fun.
I'm excited to learn from someone that's not Alex.
I'm excited to learn from somebody who is not Mrs. Pearlmania.
Wow. Let's get a divorce.
Oh,
Let's shake hands on it.
all right. No,
Damn
we've
it.
already shook on this so many
close.
times.
So close.
But Val is here.
By January, we'll know if that actually
Yeah.
took. If that took.
Now, Val, do you have any like social media or anything you want to plug? Is there anything you want to plug at all? I like to ask that up top.
I'm not a real plugger.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll plug for you. Val is one of the funniest people that I've ever met.
Yeah, that's true.
Performing in the Philadelphia comedy scene. You don't really perform anymore.
No.
Which is why I'm happy to have you on the show.
Yep.
I stopped performing because I like my job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like once you start like enjoying the work you do on a regular basis,
Then you don't need that
You
day.
stop writing comedy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. You
You're
don't
like, why
need...
do I need giggles from strangers?
Right. And also when you marry like your best friend who's also a comedian, like we're
Yeah.
performing for each other every single
All
night.
day.
Yeah.
every day. I don't know what that's like.
And yours was the most fun wedding I've ever been at.
Best wedding.
Best wedding.
10 out of 10.
Odd top wedding of all time.
Was it
Yeah.
because the cake was gluten free?
Yeah, that was a big one. For
Or
me.
was it because the ceremony was 6.5 minutes?
It was the 6.5 minute ceremony. That was us singing the theme. It was Muppets
it's
Take
from
Manhattan.
yeah.
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 Incredible.
Yeah,
Great
it's-
food, dancing, lots of fun people were there.
No, I can't stress. I just want to the audience because they don't know you. And they don't know your husband.
They don't know me.
They don't know you at all.
No.
We show up. It was like an Irish cultural center.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, which is
That's
just
100% what it was.
Yeah, it was Irish Cultural Center, which by the way is just a bar.
Yeah.
So
on Friday nights they do Kaylee. Like
yeah,
that's it.
yeah. So we show up and I'm like, what the fuck is this thing? And you and your husband are standing around. It's like all the family and everything. And then you guys pass out a piece of paper to everyone. I was like, what the fuck is this? And then the officiant steps forward and they start singing. And then you start singing and he starts singing. And I realized this is from the fucking Muppets.
Yeah.
This is from the Muppets Take Manhattan. And it's the wedding scene between Miss Piggy and Kermit.
Yep.
And then the officiant like turns to the crowd, and then I look down and realize, oh, we have a part to sing. Everyone in the room starts singing, and everybody knows it. It's the weird part is everyone.
Oh, yeah,
there
for
was no
sure.
rehearsal. Everyone in the room nails it.
Yeah, the tune goes like up and down.
Yeah, up and down,
like,
but everyone. It's very simple tune. Everyone is singing and crying now at the same time.
Sing crying. Sing
The
crying.
officiant goes, do you? And you're like, I do. Do you? I do. And they're like, they did. And then they're like, it's done. And then you guys are turning like, get drunk. And I was like, what the fuck? That was the whole wedding. And I was so for our wedding,
Yeah.
I was like, if our wedding goes over 12 and a half minutes, I will fire you, priest. And the priest was like, what? And I was like, I had people in the audience. I was like, time it. If we go over 12 and a half minutes, start flashing your cell phone like it's a comedy show. And that's because of your wedding.
That's amazing because on our way to your wedding, Tuki was like, if that wedding goes more than 13 minutes, I'm giving him the light.
Yeah.
I am giving him the light.
No,
Give him the
I was
free
so
light.
happy.
He's like, I maxed out at 13 minutes of
Yeah.
Pearlman. That's
yeah,
it.
no, that's it. That's it. Nobody
Can't
should
do more than that.
No,
it's
nobody
impossible.
should. Which is why we do a 2-hour podcast now. So
When I started listening to the podcast, I was like, oh, I'll just catch up on the and I was like, oh, it'll take me 3 months to catch
Yeah.
up on the podcast.
Yeah.
It's so long. I had no idea. It's
yeah, no,
great.
we have we as of this recording, I believe we have almost 100 hours of content,
Woo!
which is
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's weird for our brains, but enough about us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who are we
talk-
talking about?
Okay.
I wanna learn. I
And
wanna
enough
learn.
about us and enough about you. Who are we learning about today? Who are you going to dump some lore on us?
I'm going to talk about Nelly Bly.
Nelly Bly.
Yes,
that?
Nelly Bly. Good thing you asked.
Who is that?
I'm about to tell you all about
Okay.
Nelly Bly. All right. So I should start off with saying, like, a lot of the stuff that I say in this is like from the time.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
I don't mean to offend anyone.
Yeah.
Like I like to start off with that.
Okay.
Because there's definitely words in this where I'm like, I don't think we use that anymore.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think that's a word that we use.
And I will say you did send us notes because you were like, hey, I just want to know, like, does this look okay to you? And I just saw that it was like 5 pages of notes. And then I got to page 6 and I was like, are those references? Like she actually
Yeah.
has like the
Yeah.
APA style references to the bit. And I was like, oh, she actually did like research.
Yeah.
So
Nothing
yeah.
makes me more nervous than someone asking me to do research on someone. And I was like, sure, I'll do it. And then Doing's like, why did you say you would do it? You hate doing research papers.
Yeah.
I was like sweating. I was like, oh.
Yeah, but no, it looked professional.
I have a lot of notes also from former podcasts. Like you should see the notes for the Ilaria Baldwin episode. Just
Yeah.
I had to really fact check those.
Meanwhile, it just says like lorem ipsum. It's just like the actual like drive, like notes.
Yeah.
I didn't really write anything.
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready?
Okay,
Yeah.
we're ready. Go ahead. Nelly Bly.
Okay, Nelly Bly. So she was an investigative reporter. So I'm just
Okay.
gonna start with
Okay,
that. And
gotcha.
it's from like this is like 1800s New York City.
Okay, 1800s
cool.
New York City.
Yeah. So she was born Elizabeth Cochran.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, this is in May of 1864. So she's a Taurus, which is obviously
Okay.
why I was like obsessed.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what girl? Tell me more.
He's stubborn.
I'm like, what? That is true. I am a Taurus, and I'm
Yeah,
like
so say.
100%.
Yeah, well, don't tell everybody because
Everybody
now they're going to
knows.
do my star charts.
Oh, bummed out for you.
Actually, this whole thing is just your star chart.
This is a Star
We
Chart.
did it.
intervention.
Okay, we did it.
I called your mom and got your birth time.
Oh no!
I gave her a martini.
it was fantastic.
You know it takes 2.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep us on track.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
She was born in Cochrane Mills, PA.
Okay.
So, which was actually a town that was founded by her father.
Okay, I was about to ask. I'm like, her name's Liz Cochran.
Yeah.
She was born in Cochran Mills.
So she's a nepo baby.
Total
yeah,
nepo
total
baby.
nepo baby. Outside of Indiana, PA. So that's like an hour outside of Pittsburgh. So we're talking Yinzers
Okay.
and French fry sandwiches.
Yeah.
not U's and hoagies.
Okay,
Okay.
gotcha.
So I like to.
Yeah.
This is Western Pennsylvania is definitely different than Eastern Pennsylvania, but that's for another time.
That's a whole different
That's a
episode.
whole different episode. So she came from this like really big family, but it was kind of like a halvesies family. So like there was like the first half with the father and his first wife, and then that I think she died, and then his second wife was her mom, and then
Okay.
she had 5 kids too. I think right, like yeah. So she has like 10 half siblings, and then like 4 siblings from her.
Okay, big family,
Her mom.
almost
Okay.
Brady Bunchy.
So
Yeah.
14 is enough.
Yes.
Okay.
That's yes.
Okay.
So her mom's name was like Mary Jane Kennedy. I did not go into a rabbit hole
That's
if
fine.
she was part of the Kennedys because I
Okay.
was like, we could make that up. But she's
I'm just going to assume. I'm going to assume in my mind.
You know, as time goes on, I've learned to I just hate Kennedys now.
yeah. I'm
like
like
because the,
I'm like,
the
what's
more
wrong with her?
well, the deeper I go into the Kennedys, because like you grow up and you're like JFK is great, and like RFK, and like as times progressed, I'm like, we could have done better. I feel like they got in the way.
Meanwhile, I thought you were just going to start going into Billy Joel's lyrics for "We Didn't Start the Fire."
Oh,
You're
no.
like JFK blown up.
Yeah,
What do
blown
I
away.
have to say?
Yeah.
Okay, so her dad made his way up the ranks. He was a mill worker, and then he became like a judge. And so when she was born into a pretty wealthy family, but he died when she was 6.
Okay.
Okay.
So when he died, like his money went to like all of the kids. So it was like 14 kids.
that's a
so
lot of
like
kids.
So that's not a lot of money now.
yeah, so her mom and their pack, like her mom and her 5, they did not really have a lot of money. So then they moved, and she got remarried. Yes, she got remarried. And then she got divorced pretty quickly. I'm pretty sure because her husband was an abuser.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So second stepdad. First
Yeah.
stepdad's bad.
Yeah, first dad died.
Yeah.
Second stepdad.
Yeah.
Is exactly
Bummer.
Yeah. Bummer. Yeah.
a bummer.
Bummer.
And so, which is important to, I think, Nelly's personality. So it's important to know that like she saw her mom being abused and her mom left quickly.
Yeah.
Which I
like
in
that.
the 1800s is actually like a
Yeah.
pretty amazing thing, right?
Yeah.
So after the divorce, Mary Jane took this chunk of family and they moved to Pittsburgh. So now it's just her and the 5 kids.
Yeah.
But Nelly, by the time she was like 15, she was really no slouch. She actually knew that she was going to have to support herself and she didn't want to be dependent on anyone else.
Yeah.
So at 15, she enrolled herself in the state normal school in Indiana, PA.
The normal school?
Super normal. What can you tell me about this school? Well, it's definitely normal.
It's definitely
It's very. I want you to think of Xavier's School of Gifted Children.
Not
okay,
that.
opposite.
It's not that one.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very normal.
when your kid graduates from this, people are gonna look at him and go, vanilla.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Which is kind of because it was a teaching school, right? So like so it is a normal school.
Yeah.
So because normally you graduate and then become a teacher.
I just feel like it's suspicious to call it normal.
Yeah, like-
It's like, what's the school about? Normal. Okay, no murder here. University. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Definitely not a cult
Yeah.
church.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a
Yeah.
side note. Wait, you all know what school this is though, which is crazy. The State Normal School of Pennsylvania it was founded in 1875.
Okay.
It was later purchased by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania in 1927.
Okay.
And it became the Indiana State Teachers College. And subsequently, I'm going to build this up.
Yeah.
Subsequently,
Okay.
it became Indiana State College in 1959. And after achieving university status in 1965, what did it become?
Penn State?
No.
I don't know.
Indiana University.
Of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, which has always been super annoying. That it's called Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
Which is because
It's like there's a whole other state called Indiana. Call it something else, you fucks.
So there you go.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Is
Thank you.
why.
Meanwhile, I was like, I don't know what universities would
I've
be
heard of
states
Indiana University. I know a few people who I think at least applied to it. I don't know anyone who actually went
So
to
now
it.
if you ever meet anyone that went there, you can be like, that's real normal.
Oh, you went
Yeah.
to a
That's like a
normal
little
school?
inside joke for yourself
Yeah.
there. That's real normal.
Oh, you
Yeah.
went to a normal school.
Your school's so normal they named it after a different state.
A boring state.
Yeah.
Ayo, I'm just kidding.
Hey.
Indiana, I'm sorry.
All right. But I've never been.
Well, I feel like my whole time growing up, I was like, wait, do you go? So is it the University of Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, it's Indiana University of Pennsylvania. And I'm like,
No,
I feel
because-
like you're just doing a run-on sentence now.
Yeah.
Like, what is it?
Well, it also sucks too because it's like University of Pennsylvania is not Penn State.
No.
And it's also like that's a very specific place, University of Pennsylvania.
Yes.
And they're like, but Indiana University is a totally different place.
Right.
And so now Indiana University of Pennsylvania, like just call it the normal school.
Just see,
I think
Go
Yeah,
back to just
go
normal
back.
school. Oh
Go
my
back.
god, they could never not be confusing.
It would be so much better.
Okay.
I went to Penn State, and people used to always be like, "Oh, Ivy League," and I was like,
You know,
Yeah,
more
sure.
CEOs come from Penn State than any other university.
"It's very true. It's very
Yeah.
hard to like work somewhere and not be there's
yeah.
a lot of Penn Staters."
There's a
But
lot
I
of
always
Penn
thought it was funny. People thought just assumed I went to an Ivy League school, and I just never corrected them. And then my friend,
Oh, because they're thinking University of Pennsylvania.
yes, and then my
Oh.
other friend went to the University of Pennsylvania, and people would be like, "Oh, Nittany Lions," and he'd be like, "No." And I was like, "What does that tell you about us?"
I thought he was going to be mad that other people were getting stolen valor of like going to like, you think Penn State?
I have stolen, so I've
you had
stolen valor.
valor.
Yeah, you have
that.
stolen Ivy League valor.
That's what it is.
That's so good. Which, to be fair, though, to get in the Ivy League, you have to steal land.
Yes.
Okay.
But also, what's interesting is that on my resume, I just write one of the Pennsylvania schools you choose, and that way they can just figure out which
Yeah.
one I went to.
Oh.
And whatever one they like the best.
That's smart.
I'll agree.
On my resume, I said place I used to do Adderall. Yep.
That's right. You were probably always helpful around like large dormitories. You probably helped everyone turn their clocks ahead and back.
Yeah, I was like, guys, wake up! It's an hour later.
It was 2 a.m., but now it's 3 a.m.
Ah!
I had a very different experience than
Yeah.
you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so she goes to normal school.
She goes to normal school. She drops out after a year and a half.
Oh, she couldn't handle it. She's too exceptional.
She actually ran out of money, which makes it even worse because she was so interested in going to school and she wanted to do all this. So she ran out of money. So she dropped out. Then she moved back to Pittsburgh
So she's
help-
broke and she's not normal.
Right, and then she moved back to Pittsburgh to help her mom run a boarding house, which is like
That's pretty normal, baby.
what you think someone's going to do in the 1800s, because I feel like that's what every book we ever read, like said women did, was like run a boarding house and then like
it's like run a boarding house or a brothel or get tuberculosis and die while a poet like yearns for you.
Oh my god, I love Moulin Rouge. I was like, where is he going with this?
Yeah, no, I just feel like that's like most of
true.
the stories back then. It's like,
true.
oh,
So she did that.
okay.
So I'm at 21 years old. So
21.
it's like 1881 now.
Okay.
I think it's important to know the time period, because this is like 1881. Like, what were women doing at that time?
Yeah.
Running boarding houses.
Running boarding houses, not much else.
But you have like the suffragette movement is beginning.
Yes.
It was like really starting to pick up steam. And you have like the pushing that's happening also for trying to like a prohibition.
Yes. So there's
Yeah.
and that's like, so she's a 21-year-old and she's like, I'm helping my mom run this boarding house, and she reads this article and it's called, I want to make sure I get the newspaper's name right, the Pittsburgh Dispatch.
Okay.
So this is a leading newspaper in Pittsburgh from 1840 to 1923.
Okay.
So this article like fired her up, because it talks about how a woman's place is in the home and to be a helpmate to a man.
Ooh.
Okay, so now Elizabeth is furious.
Yeah. She's like, trad wife? Trad wife?
She's
1881, and she was like, yo, fuck your Instagram.
she's like changing the bedding of whoever this person in the boarding house, and she's like,
You think this is the
reading
best I can
newspaper,
do?
Right?
Yeah. She's
So-
like, this man pissed and shit himself in this bed.
Yeah.
And he paid me a nickel.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm not helping anyone. I'm
No.
doing it. I'm earning.
Done.
I'm earning.
Yeah.
So how does she deal with her curiosity?
I'm hoping she writes a letter to the editor.
Bing, bing, bing.
You gotta write a strongly worded email.
A strongly worded letter. She does it anonymously under like a pen name. Perfect.
Okay. I love the fact. See, that's the thing is back in the day, like people would write a strongly worded letter. Sounds so much better than a mean tweet.
Yeah.
And then she subtweeted somebody. Doesn't have the same oomph to it.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
No.
So Liz Cochran sits down and writes a letter and says, I don't need no man.
To whom it may concern.
So
Yeah.
she does it under the name Lonely Orphan Girl. And then she, like, in this letter, she strongly disagrees with the points in the original article. I love it's like strongly disagrees.
I strongly
You can hear her
disagree.
like hitting the period on
And
the end
you
of the
know
like,
what else?
Definitely no exclamation points, but also everywhere in the letter.
Yeah.
I can picture her holding up quill. I don't know if they still used quills then, but she's like, and I said, good day, sir. Yeah.
Like licks the quill.
Yeah.
So the editor of the paper's name was George Madden. George A. Madden.
Okay.
He was super impressed by this.
Any relation to John Madden?
No.
Most likely. All the games are about him.
Yeah.
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 The games are not, they're actually like secretly like a history dump, those games.
Yeah,
Or, like you're
all
running
the
to the
Madden
tank.
games?
Yes, all the Madden games.
Yeah.
He was so impressed.
When I think of Madden 94, I think of suffragettes.
Exactly.
So I'm sorry.
You had no idea. You were like, it was like secretly giving you all of this historical.
Yeah.
You're like, why do I want to read the Pittsburgh Dispatch right now?
Yeah.
I just feel like women do deserve the right to vote, you know?
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah.
So he's so impressed. He responds to the letter in the paper asking the lonely orphan girl to reveal her identity.
Okay.
Pretty cool.
So he's impressed with her writing skills.
Yeah.
Is that what it's? that's
Yeah,
what
he
you
was
mean?
basically, he was impressed with her writing skills, and he was impressed with the fact that she actually like came back and was like, no.
Yeah, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what you're saying is wrong. And he was
Yeah.
like, who's this? She's got gumption.
Yeah,
I
she's-
imagine it was like, oh yeah, see, like she's got gumption.
This kid's got moxie.
Yeah, I was gonna say Moxie. It's gotta be Moxie. Yeah.
So she goes in, she shows up at the office, and he immediately offers her a job. So she's 21 years old, and she's offered a job at the Pittsburgh Dispatch.
Wow.
Proving her point that she doesn't just have to be a helpmate to
Exactly.
a guy. She can get a real job.
Yep. Instantly got a job because she's a what? Woman. Wow.
Wow.
I see that wokeness has always been a problem in America. You know, I bet
Like,
if
did
she
he
was.
ask for her credentials?
Yeah, exactly. I bet if she was a
Wow.
21-year-old man who walked in there, he wouldn't have just handed her a job in the
Wow.
mailroom, and then eventually she began to CEO of the company, and then eventually, you know, after about 3 generations, his kids own enough planes and other wealth to actually bankrupt an entire nation.
You're right. He wouldn't have had to start in the mailroom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
mailrooms don't
Yeah.
exist anymore.
yeah,
It would have been a much faster cycle.
yeah. It would have been yeah. But I guess she couldn't go. She couldn't start in the mailroom because it's not called the female room.
Whoa.
Oh.
A lot of partying on this.
Yeah.
So this is when her pseudonym changes.
Okay.
From the Lonely Orphan Girl. She was like, let me think about that name.
Lonely Orphan-
I don't know if I want to write under that name forever.
Yeah, Lonely Orphan Girl. That does slap though.
No, it reminds me of like when you like when YouTubers in like the early aughts would come up with like a name for their YouTube channel that was like Lonely Orphan Girl, and then they become successful and it's like 15 years later and they're still like, my name is Karen Snephilopoulos, but you call me Lonely Orphan Girl, and like they can't rebrand because all of their content is
I'm
in
like
that name.
5 years older than you, and what you're saying is the same thing. I'm like, this is everyone that picked an email address.
Oh yeah.
In like 1999, and it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like, pick up my t-shirts 22
Well, yeah, but that's
at AOL.com.
Well, Gen Z kids are always yelling about millennials. Like, why can't millennials pick like a regular screen name? It's like, well, because we were yelled at forever to not use your.
Yes.
The internet was supposed to be lies. Like, we had all agreed that, listen, we're all pretend to be somebody else on the internet.
100%. Yeah.
And then one day, some asshole was like, no, it's actually you. You're like, no, but I've been Optimus Prime 69 420 for years. And they're like, that's cringe now.
How many AOL Instant
Yeah.
Messenger? How many AIM? I love that I was like AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah. I had you at AIM. I know.
I knew what it was.
But I don't know. Some of your listeners
Yeah.
could be like 14. I don't know. They might not know what
I
AIM
hope
is.
not.
They were like,
Yeah.
why? And then some
Yeah.
could be really old and be like, why is she using a toothpaste? So, but I
It's a
had
good spread. It's a good spread.
You gotta be pretty old to still be using AIM toothpaste. That's
Yeah.
like you have to seek that one
wasn't
out.
AIM the one that had the 3?
Yeah, it was like the red, white, and blue. yeah.
I'm doing that thing with my hand. You know exactly what it is. But so
The swoop.
Yeah,
I had like 4 AIM names.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because it was like the different dudes I'd be talking to. Like, I don't want them to, like, in case they knew each other, I didn't want
Yeah.
them to know that they were talking to the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lonely Orphan Girl decides to rebrand.
Yeah. Okay.
Her new AIM name is now Nelly Bly, which apparently at that time was like a really popular song.
Okay. So she
Oh.
just called herself a popular song.
Yes.
Pop
So
song.
now
So she's like, my new name is Taylor Swift's folklore album. You're like, what?
That would be something you would do.
I would.
So she like rewrote that letter, but now it's Nelly's version.
Yeah.
Right?
She had to re-record
She had to
it.
re-record it. She wanted to retain
I'm
the
Lonely
rights.
Orphan Girl, Nelly's version.
So, okay, so now let's go to journalism.
Okay. So Nelly Bly is now a
She's
journalist.
officially a journalist.
She walked in and she said,
She didn't even have to graduate college. I'm so proud of her.
yeah, she didn't even go to fucking normal
She
school.
girl bossed her way.
Yeah,
really
I love
close.
this.
I love it.
Okay.
If
So
you add a couple of musical numbers to this, it's a real sweet, like, Broadway show.
that would
right?
work, yeah.
She's like, I am no longer working at the boarding school. Whatever.
Changing dirty
Okay.
poop sheets.
Yeah.
There you go. Boarding house, you're right.
Boarding house, yep.
Okay, so she now is at Pittsburgh Dispatch. This is where she gets good at what she's, like, known for. She becomes an investigative reporter here. She gets so good and into investigating that she goes undercover,
Okay.
which is kind of like not the thing to be done at that time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then like for a woman to be doing it is even
Yeah,
like
it's crazy.
cuckoo, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So she goes into a factory and then immediately writes all about the terrible working conditions.
Oh, all right.
You have to think about the area that she's in. She's in Pittsburgh, and this is basically like everyone. It's like local and the time. So
Yeah.
you're writing about the people who own the factories. They're working, and all these people like probably also own the newspaper, but like all
Yeah.
these people live in that area, and
Yeah.
they know, you know, the newspaper knows all of them. Things haven't changed very much.
Yeah.
And her writing so good and honest about the horrors of factory life that she immediately gets moved to the females, like the women's society pages.
They're like, nope.
They were like,
Nope.
we're gonna make you a society columnist. They're like,
Yeah.
she
became Carrie Bradshaw in that moment.
yes, literally like the big bosses of the Dispatch.
They were like, hey, yeah, I know we hired you because you had a really good perspective on the world, but your perspective is fucking with our cast.
Yes, basically they were
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
concerned.
Why don't you write about hats and scarves, you bitch?
It's like when Carrie got that job at Vogue.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. That's actually what that episode's about. It's about Nelly Bly.
Yeah.
Many months ago, I may have made a joke on this podcast that Carrie Bradshaw was literally the worst, but that's before I knew she did investigative journalism talking about the exploitation of human labor.
Yes, there you go.
I didn't know.
Yeah. And by many months ago, you mean exactly last week in real time.
In real
But for
time.
the listeners, about 5 months
I was
ago.
trying to keep the lie alive about the timing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nah, we're done with that.
We're done with it.
Listen, we learned
I'm
from
sweating because I'm so excited.
We learned from Nelly Bly to just be honest.
Yeah.
And the only thing to lie about, your name, right, Mrs. Pearlmania?
It's good. It's a good call.
Yeah.
Got my ass on that one.
Got her good, you fucker.
Do you know how I have to keep on looking back at my notes?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to say anything wrong.
That's okay.
It's okay.
All right, so they were concerned about pissing off the local owners of these factories, and so they saw her as a threat.
Yeah, obviously.
This 21-year-old.
Well, because she had good access, because people didn't suspect her because she was a woman.
Yes.
Yep.
So she could get into a situation like that, and nobody cared if a woman saw something like that because they're like,
what is
whatever.
she going to do?
What's she going to do about it?
Yeah.
It reminds me
Help
of
someone?
What's she going to do? Have her period?
Yeah, like...
It reminds me of, number one, the lady from the Pinkertons that you did. Remember?
Yes. Yeah,
the
yeah.
detective from the Pinkertons. And also...
the Weezer album?
No.
Fuck you.
I'm done, she's a lesbian. That was that Weezer song.
Yeah,
right?
no.
That is from Pinkerton, right?
Yeah, no, but the Pinkertons were a private police force that that hired the owner of which hired a woman who, like, very early on, he didn't have any female agents, and then he quickly, like, he hired this lady because she, like, fucking owned him immediately. Yeah. And then he was like, oh shit, men are dumb and none of them actually, like, look women in the eye because they're all afraid of them, and then women can just walk into anything.
Yeah.
And then she immediately was like the best spy.
Yeah, so that's basically that's what this is.
Yeah,
so she's like this 21-year-old, probably unassuming.
Yep.
They like let her walk into this factory, and then she immediately trashes it.
Yeah.
She reads it for filth.
Yeah. So
on the pages of the Pittsburgh Dispatch.
now we're going to talk about society life. Is that what's
No,
happening?
so they tell her, they like are basically like, you need to write in the society pages, and she's like, I have no interest in this.
Yeah.
So I have no interest in writing about women's issues.
Whoa.
Right? So she ends up volunteering to go to Mexico.
Okay.
So this is what, like 1878 or something, right?
Yeah.
Not even, no, not even there yet, right? We're still early in the 1870s. But so she goes to Mexico for 6 months.
To do a story?
To just write on location for the Dispatch.
If she's 21, she was born 1864, so we're like 1885, around there.
Yeah.
So it's 1885, and she goes to Mexico to write a story. Do we know what it's about?
No, she just goes there. She's on location. She comes back.
She fucking grifted them. She's like, if you don't want me to talk about these fucking factories, then I
Yeah,
want
it'd be
all
a
expenses
real
paid
shame.
fucking trip.
Well, so what's happening in
fucking
the
Cabo.
late 1800s between Mexico? Is it? I mean, there's probably it's probably pretty dicey down there, and because there's a lot of. This is around the same time as the war between.
Well, no, the Mexican-American War was in the 1850s.
So it was earlier, but so I'm imagining still that there's probably not.
Is this Pancho Villa?
Like so she's. She's down there writing about Mexico because they basically are like, we need someone to go on location there. So I imagine it's either about the rebuilding or about people. I don't know. Is it Mexico at the time?
They had stuff. They had just stuff going on.
Stuff going on. Okay, so she's writing about the stuff happening in Mexico.
Well, and that's what I think.
Enjoying the
sun. But also,
sun.
like, I think about this. So she's a 21-year-old who volunteers to go to Mexico, like, by herself and work for the newspaper just to not write about shoes and purses.
I really appreciate that for her.
Yes. And then she comes back and she does such a good job that they're like, oh, we still want you to write for the society pages because we don't trust your shit.
Yeah.
Like, we don't trust you to keep it, like, to take it down a notch.
Young lady.
Right. So she leaves.
Yeah.
She quits.
Okay.
And she heads to the Big Apple.
Oh, she goes to New York.
Oh,
She goes to
she's
New
going
York
to follow
City.
her dreams.
Okay.
Yeah. She's like hopeful that in New York City they'll be a little bit open-minded about what a woman can do.
Yeah, okay.
Well, all right.
This is still 1880s New York.
Yeah. So
I mean, I will say they're probably going to be a little bit more open-minded than Pittsburgh.
yeah,
a little bit.
but she's definitely going to be bright-eyed.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
she's
Bright-eyed,
still
bushy-tailed.
young.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
From
She's
Western
like,
Pennsylvania.
Basically Joe March from Little Women, like going there. Yeah. She's going to meet the German writer. But so she's turned away a lot from different newspapers. A lot.
Okay.
She's turned
So she's going in. She's knocking on doors. They're like, get out of here. Please
yes,
leave.
100%, because at that time that's how you try to get jobs. Like, so she was just like sitting trying to.
Boomers still think that's how you get jobs.
Yeah, that's
like,
very funny. It's very funny that she did.
like,
no, right? Listen. You walk in and you don't leave until someone takes your resume.
She's been, like literally lifting herself up. By her
and now they're
bootstraps.
like, can you go online and take a Myers-Briggs test for 6 hours and then we'll never respond to you?
I'm yellow,
Can you
red,
upload
blue, green.
your resume and then rewrite your resume into this formatting system?
Why is there no software that can actually
There
upload the resume?
is. They just don't want it. Because at the end of the day, with any job application, it's who you know. It's who you got to know somebody that's already working there for them to actually pull it out of the stack. And they also will never tell you didn't get the job. They just say, we're going to keep you, we're going to hold you on file just to keep you for future reference.
Are they actually doing that though?
No.
Because privacy laws means they have to get rid of my shit in 90 days anyway. So
See?
let's do a deep dive.
Whoa! We just learned something, everybody. Call your lawyer if you don't got a job.
Okay, so
Nelly Bly is going. She's going door to door.
She's getting the door slammed
demanding
in her
jobs.
face. It's like a 1980s movie.
Yeah.
She's trying to find this investigative journalism job, and that didn't actually really exist at that time, right? So like she's like, I want to go undercover, and people are like, you're wild. It doesn't really happen. Like that's not how they do it. People are like, oh, let's write about tables.
Yeah.
Tables and
New idea breaking today. Making hot tea cold.
Woo!
Taking the World Fair by storm.
That's it.
We have about 37 pages of coverage of that in today's paper.
She goes to the New York World.
Okay.
Okay. New York World was owned by Joseph Pulitzer.
Oh, okay.
Whose
Fancy.
name you might know from all of the prizes he gives out.
He gives out big prizes.
for award-winning journalism.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I
like
thought he
not
was the-
too shabby.
Yeah.
I thought he was the door-to-door guy. Am I thinking of the wrong prize?
Are you thinking of Ed McMahon?
Yeah. Oh, that's
You're
what I was
thinking
thinking.
Publishers Clearinghouse.
That's what I was
and
thinking.
I would love to know where you thought this story was going.
That's amazing. I can tell this is how you know that pregnancy rots somebody's brain.
She really
In this
went
moment,
there.
I've been hiding for months because we're only about to tell everybody on the podcast that she's pregnant. I've been glossing over this for months. I felt like Mitch McConnell's like assistant. The way that there's been times.
Like, do you want a snack?
Yeah, no, but there's been times where she's looked at me like Pulitzer. She's like, oh, like the guy who give you a big check in your door. I'm like, the fuck are you? Her brain's gone. It's mush in there.
It's mush. I have nothing left.
Well, you have like a leech in your body that's
Yeah.
like taking
Stealing
all of your
my,
energy.
my brain power.
Yeah, all of her blood.
But anyway, how cool would it be if the Pulitzer, they showed up at your house with like a giant book and balloons?
And that's like the award. That's like how you get that award.
Yeah. It's
It's
like
just a drunk Ed McMahon. All right, you bought enough magazines.
Why did they stop doing the Publishers Clearinghouse?
They still do it. They just do it different. And the big part of Publishers
scams.
Well, it was a scam, but the other big part of
fakes.
Publishers Clearinghouse was also it was magazine based. You had to be subscribed to all these different magazines like through.
Oh wait, so it was like the Columbia House Records thing?
Yeah, it was kind of like that.
Because
for
I was like,
magazines.
what publisher are they clearing
Well,
their house? Like I didn't really understand.
Publishers Clearinghouse, I think, and I'm not sure, but I believe it was more of a.
Are you gonna hit the allegedly button?
Oh, that's a fair point.
Allegedly.
I believe it was a distributor.
Right.
So it was like these magazine companies, like people would ship to Publishers Clearinghouse,
okay.
and then they would send you the 30 magazines you had to have to be in the running for Publishers Clearinghouse.
You had to get
And-
that Women's World,
Yep.
that Food Network,
Yep.
the Paula Deen before it got canceled.
Yeah. All those
You had
different
to get
ones.
all the different magazines.
TV Guide, all those different ones. So instead, you had some publishers who would send directly to you. You had all these different ones, and then some of them would sign up for this program because that meant that they would have higher sales.
So then in my new version, the Pulitzer version, you have to have like really good books, Pulitzer prize winning books being sent to your house consistently to read them.
Consistently.
And then if you win, they blow up a giant book with balloons and very drunk Ed McMahon shows up.
So for the children out there who are very young who apparently listen to this podcast, Ed McMahon with Publishers Clearinghouse was the equivalent of Mr. Beast at Walmart.
Yep.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's what it was.
But what's way more interesting about Ed McMahon is that was only one of his side hustles.
Yes.
Like Ed McMahon also was the sidekick on the Tonight Show.
Yeah, and he
the
had his own
host of search.
Yeah,
Like,
this dude had so many jobs. But the thing is a lot of those guys, and we'll get back to Nelly in just a second.
maybe.
Because,
Where are we going?
hold on. When you go look at all these classic television personalities, like they all had like 37 jobs, but they all made all this money. And part of the reason for that, though, is because they all getting they were serially divorced.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. Like
that
Johnny
makes a lot of
Carson would get
sense.
married like every 4 years. He was getting married and divorced. I think he was on like his 5th or 6th wife by the end of his career.
Yeah.
Like they just would go through this because they're from a time period where like, well, you got to get married. And I was like, well,
Right.
not really. You don't have to. And they're like, no, I have to. I'm a personality. If I'm living with my wife and I'm a girl in sin, I'll lose my job. It's like, well, or you could, now you owe her half. How do you owe 6 people half?
Oh, man.
You got to go
Jesus.
make some extra halves.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how you end up door to door in Tacoma, Washington, telling a grandmother of 9
Yep.
that she just got $38,000.
Hell yeah, dude.
That'll be posted on WPHL 17 at 9:30 in the morning.
Meanwhile, I think about all those women, how smart they are. They're
Yeah.
like, I'm just going to marry this guy for a couple years and get fucking half.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, you're like Johnny Carson, insufferable.
Yeah.
But for 3 years,
Yeah,
not
I'm
that
taking
bad.
it.
Yeah.
It's an investment.
I'm
is an
taking
investment.
all of Mrs. Pearlmania's money in the divorce. I'm robbing her fucking blind. All right, I know where the talent lies.
Yeah,
Well.
it's over here.
Yeah.
Speaking of talent, so she got a
Okay.
job at the Pulitzer place.
Okay.
Yeah, so okay. So she basically is like, this is what I want to do. I want to go undercover. And so I'm going to give you a year again because she's only 23, so it's 1887.
Okay.
So she's 23.
Okay.
Like she's got the cojones. She's
Yeah.
got balls, this girl. She's
Yeah.
like, she's 23. She's the writer formerly known as Elizabeth Cochran. So she's Nelly Bly of the New York World now. She's
Yeah.
23 years old and hired to be an investigative journalist. And she's basically off to the races.
Okay.
So her first story, she wants to go undercover. And she arranges to be admitted to a New York insane asylum
Jesus
Jesus
Christ.
fucking Christ, dude.
for the poor. So not even, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
So it's called Blackwell Island Insane Asylum.
Oh my God.
And she
Wait,
go-
didn't they do a version of that on? Or that was in the '60s, though.
What?
They did on American Horror Story. There's a season where they're
It's
in an
probably based
asylum,
on this.
and I think so, but it was more '60s based. But they have a whole season about being in an asylum, and there's a news reporter who's doing expose, and she checks herself in so she can.
I
do it.
guarantee you that this is the inspiration
Yeah.
for that. So she goes in to Blackwell Island for 10 days and like writes all about it. This is going to be her first like stunt reporting. Mm-hmm. So what is Blackwell Island? I'll give you a little history on that. So we know it today as Roosevelt Island.
Okay.
Okay. Yep.
It's the island between Manhattan and Queens in New York City. And this, if you really want to know, it's the scene where like Tobey Maguire, when he's the Spider-Man, like, and they're riding that weird gondola thing and like hanging from the wire. That's like the tram to
Okay.
Roosevelt Island. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's what Roosevelt Island. So that's what Blackwell Island is. So that place where there's all those apartment buildings now was actually, I think it was first like a prison and then an insane asylum. And then I think it became like hospitals. And so it changed its name. It was Blackwell Island, or was it, yes, Blackwell Island, and then Welfare Island in 1920.
Oh,
They're
no.
very like on the nose.
Yeah.
Welcome to Welfare Island.
No.
Oh, what's
Jesus.
happening here?
Jesus.
Oh no, the branding was not good on that one.
Okay.
Every other block is named like Potter's Field, probably, and then it finally became Roosevelt Island in 1973.
But it was an insane asylum, so it's basically like Shutter Island, like that Leo DiCaprio
Yes.
movie. So we're taking all the people with problems who are
Yes.
poor, and we're putting them on an island,
Locking them up in it.
and we don't have cameras, so this is not a fun game show.
Well, and it's all women too.
Oh, it's all women.
Well,
Okay.
I think the side that at the time, I think that like everything was split. So the
Yeah.
side that she was on, the unfortunates were women.
Okay.
I'm actually going to read you the opening paragraph. from
Okay,
this.
cool.
All right, cool. Let's hear from Nelly Bly herself.
Yes. So, should I do the voices?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the 22nd of September, wait a second. I didn't realize that this was a September thing, and we're recording. Oh my God, so wild.
But the listeners are in January.
It means nothing to you. Okay. So on the 22nd of September, I was asked by the New York World if I could have myself committed to one of the asylums for the insane in New York, with a view to writing a plain and unvarnished narrative of the treatment of the patients therein and the methods of management, etc. Did I think I had the courage to go through with such an ordeal as the mission would demand? Could I assume the characteristics of insanity to such a degree that I would pass the doctors, live for a week among the insane, without the authorities there finding out that I was only a child among them taking notes? She does write that in a weird way.
Yeah.
I just want to give you... And I said, I believe I could. I had some faith in my own ability as an actress and thought I could assume insanity long enough to accomplish any mission entrusted to me. Could I pass a week in the insane ward at Blackwell's Island? I said I could, and I would, and I did. So she did it. She totally went in there for 10 days.
I'd be so afraid they wouldn't let me out.
That's
the big fear.
Can I say something? I'm really glad that she writes the same way, like basically almost every racist explorer writes in the 1880s too. Could I pretend to be a crazy lunatic who doesn't deserve rights? Oh, yes, I could.
Oh, yes, I could.
Oh, I believe I am very good at this, and I did it. Like, I like that it's a very 1880s writing style.
You can feel the time. And also, then it becomes more amazing to me to think that she was like 23.
Yeah.
Like at 23, I was trying, like, I was, whatever. I'm like a feminist. I am. And like, I was a pretty strong woman at 23. Yeah. But I definitely wasn't like, you know what I totally want to do? Is get checked into an insane asylum with like no plan to get out. Like, I'm toast into it. Like, I was not doing that at 23.
23-year-old me was not making any type of decisions like anywhere near this zone.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think of what I was doing at 23. I think I was just like,
I think one time
I was working at a dry cleaner. Yeah, that's what I was doing. Yeah. I was working at a dry cleaner and just like, this sucks.
One time, my old roommate and I, who we both worked at the same restaurant together, we didn't have enough money because we had just paid rent, so we were counting change to go get drunk at Bar Noir. Doesn't even exist anymore.
I know what Bar Noir is. My sister used to tell me stories of Bar Noir, and I was like, being an adult is magical.
That's what everybody...
You dance on tables there?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So Nelly and I, different experiences.
Very different experiences.
I did, and I would. You're like, that's what at Bar Noir.
Could I find enough money to get drunk and coins?
I said I could, and I would, and I did.
I like the idea of there's definitely some like older guy wearing a bowler hat with a long mustache reading this in the paper go, this young lady has both gumption and moxie. Yeah, all right.
So
she goes in.
So, but we should take a moment to think about like how fire that paragraph was, right? That she's basically like, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
And she's 23 years old, and so the insert gets a job at New York World. She's sitting around at a pitch meeting, and I'm sure everyone else is like, yes, I will report on the hot nuts.
Yeah.
On Fifth Avenue, right? Like, I will report on this. Oh yes, I will report on the gangs down in the fields because they're English in my mind always and
they're probably still reporting about the king. They're like, let's talk about the king.
Yes, wonderful. And she's like, you know what I want to do?
And they're like, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. One guy's like, they just invented this new game called Bases Ball. I'm going to spend the next 30 years talking about this. I'm going to pretend I'm insane.
Yes.
And be locked up in the one place on earth no one wants to be.
Yeah.
And
I'll be back in less than a fortnight.
I'll be back in a jiff.
Yeah.
But she has no plan to get out either, though.
That's what I'm so concerned about. How do you get out?
So she wants to go to an insane asylum on Blackwood Island, pretend to be insane. And she says she wants to do it so she can write about how people who don't have money, like how they're treated at the facility, which I'm sure those newspaper writers, as much as they want to be of the people in the 1870s, were still not of the people. They were probably like, ooh.
This was pre-deodorant.
Yeah.
I just want to point that out. This is pre-deodorant and pre most scented soaps.
Well, and I used all of my history of this time I get most of it from Martin Scorsese's Gangs of New York.
Oh, probably
like 100% do. So I'm like, Cameron Diaz. And like
Bill the Butcher. Perfect. This is now that's how I'm picturing it.
And like how you can, she's like, I want to go to like.
They're like, why would we care what's happening to the poor and insane?
Yes.
Why? Why would
we write about how to keep the milk from spoiling? You know, like
how do we keep them in there? That's the article. How do you keep them in?
Exactly.
Well, they're insane because they're poor, and they're poor because they don't work hard and pull themselves up by their own bootstraps.
There you go.
Yeah. Get the cigars all around.
Yes.
Yes. They're good for digestion.
Yeah.
Well, and at that time too. So she's 23-year-old, and I'm sure the New York World was probably more progressive than most, but like I'm still almost positive that like there wasn't anyone else that looked like her at these pitch meetings.
Yeah.
right? Like, so like these I imagine they were, like, she probably
This is
took
why
it
it's
as like they agreed, and they were probably all were just like staring mouth agape at her, like, what?
In my mind, she's in a boardroom with all these men who are smoking cigars that are better for their digestion, and they're talking about their pitches they're doing, and she makes their pitch, and in my mind, they never even hear it. Like the way that like you hear bird chirping.
Yes, go.
Like they're like, did she get the coffees we asked for? Like she's like, I'm gonna go do this insane asylum thing. And if she would have went missing, because I'm assuming she didn't, because there's more pages on her, they would have never known because they didn't know she went because they didn't listen to a woman talk.
That's probably you go there, and then I immediately, I'm like, she's basically J.C. Wyatt and Baby Boom. Like that's like who she is to me. She's just like, I'm trying to pitch the food chain account, like whatever it is. But like that's like she had all of this like. It is gumption. It's gumption. So weird. Like she had all of this to be like, I'm going to do this. This is, and I'm going to hit this out of the park. It's my first thing that I'm going to do. And they're like, all right, crazy lady. Go,
and they're just like,
fun. Maybe you should be.
They heard Charlie Brown's mom voice. They were like, mah, mah, mah. They don't like what?
They're like, maybe she does need to be. Put in this insane asylum.
So what happened? So what happened in the insane asylum?
So she decides she's such a good actress, and then she goes into the asylum for a week, and she's gonna fool everyone. But before she goes in, she asks her editor like how he's gonna get her out, and he said, "Not quite sure about that one yet. Have fun. Bye." Like he really did not know how he was gonna get her out.
Oh no!
And she was like, "All right, whatever." I love that she's like, "I'm such a good actress that they're just no." So she doesn't have a plan to get out. So she basically turns into Nelly Brown because she's like she had all these great like pen names, and all of a sudden now she's Nelly Brown. Like she decided to change her first name. She just went Nelly Brown. Okay. She went so she checks into a temporary home for women, which is like the step before an insane asylum. It's like it is basically a boarding house, right? So she goes there, and then she acts a fool. She acts a fool so that she can get.
I want rights. Lock her up.
Basically, because you have to. She knew that she actually had to get like legitimately.
The Bible's just a book. She's insane.
Yes. Yeah. She had to get legitimately put in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Said the 302 her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she goes. They do that. The thing.
302. Yeah.
She gets herself committed through the court system.
Oh
like
my
she
God,
is committed.
no.
She gets herself committed through the court system.
Okay.
To go to Blackwell
I'm so
Island.
concerned.
It's amazing because she states that after she gets committed, she stops acting insane, and that made everyone treat her like she was more insane.
Yep.
She just said that like acting like herself made the staff way more wary of her, and like they thought she was like the most Looney Tunes like at all. And she said that wasn't uncommon. That like most of the women in there were either misunderstood, just like poor. Probably had gotten pregnant, like all of these things. Yeah. And like the person that they were with or the people who were raised her, like just decided that like that
we're done.
Whatever she was doing, that woman who is now crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're in there and it's terrible conditions. So after 10 days, the lawyer from the newspaper pulls her, like gets her pulled out, like goes through the service to get her pulled out. So the attorney from the New York World. And she immediately goes to writing, like she's decided she's going to do like a couple parts of the series. So she starts writing Behind Asylum Bars.
Okay.
So it was first published in October, right? Like, so not that far after she goes in there. She goes in September. Yeah. She gets out. She immediately, because it is a newspaper, she immediately writes it. And it has a lot of interest. And then she writes the second part, and the second part like sells out. Yeah. Like immediately. And so within that same year, they're like, you should make all of this into a book. Okay. So like her first job, gets her a book deal. Yeah. She's like, dang. Like it's like if someone wrote this as a movie, you'd be like, that's not possible, man.
Like, if only there was a publisher for her book that was a clearinghouse.
I hate you so much.
When you get
So her first book is published,
and it's called what is it called? It's called 10 Days in a Madhouse. It's actually still published today. It's pretty easy to get. Okay. You can actually look it up online.
So we're going to take a little break right here. I think it's the perfect spot to take because we just got her first big thing. And then when we come back, you're going to tell us a little bit more about this. So guys, stay tuned and just hold on out for these commercials. Unless you're a member of patreon.com/Pearlmania500 where you can hear this ad-free.
Ad-free.
And we're
We're here.
Yeah, we're here. You looked up Mrs. Bromina. You looked up something during the break.
Pre-potato, I looked up American Horror Story Asylum because I was like, that's like a crucial plot point because it was Sarah Paulson, who is the greatest of all time, and I would leave my husband for Sarah Paulson.
Okay, you've said this too many times.
In a minute, I would.
You said this about so many women. It's actually concerning how many women you've said she'd leave me for.
There's a list.
Yeah.
So anyway, she plays Lana Winters. And I looked it up, and it says here on the wiki page for American Horror Story fandoms that Lana Winters in her portrayal in the Asylum series is inspired by the historical American journalist Nelly Bly.
Yeah, I mean Nelly Bly it's pretty cool. She created investigative journalism basically.
Yeah.
Like before her, people didn't go undercover in this type of way, and so I think it's like amazing that she kind of like created this whole sect of stuff that now seems kind of like old hat.
Yeah.
But that took place in the 1960s. So they basically
they set up that series of American Horror Story took place in the 60s, and so the reporter went in. So it's just like this. The timeline was in the 60s. So I was like, I don't know if this was in the 60s or
the show's from the 2010s.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, Sarah Paulson?
Sarah
Paulson show in the 1940s?
Well, it was the way you said it. Like that took place in the. I was like, okay, it's the setting.
But wasn't there a movie too that I feel like I always think like Shutter Island is similar, but he actually
no, Shutter Island is where Leo
he thought he was a cop. It was the opposite.
He thought he was a cop, but he actually had killed his own wife, and then
Right.
he was convinced that he was insane. They were making him think he was insane. The whole thing. The movie was pretty good, but it's pretty good. I mean, it was one of those ones. I don't know. Some of those movies when they do that type of stuff, we're like, well, who's actually the crazy person? I'm like,
aren't we all?
it's us. It's always going to be. I'm just watching a movie that's a mirror unto my own soul.
But that movie, I can rewatch that movie.
Shutter Island?
Yeah, I rewatch it a lot.
Really?
Part of having anxiety is like you rewatch
the same
movies
things. Yeah, I know,
Okay.
because it's comforting to know the ending of it.
I watch a lot of American Horror
but
Story.
it doesn't matter what type of movie it is. Like I can rewatch 27 Dresses, I can rewatch Shutter Island, and I can also rewatch like Pumpkinhead.
And then do you get really mad every single time she cuts up that mom's dress? Every time you just
100%.
get mad. You just get really mad.
I also get really mad because when you rewatch movies that you like are like, why doesn't she just go this way?
Yeah.
Instead, and then someone's like, then it wouldn't be a movie.
So
then it would just be solved.
Yeah.
Like there would be no problem.
I also play that game where I'm like, why do we need all this drama? And it's like these things don't exist without a protagonist. Like you need that, and I'm like, just like why can't we just be calm all the time?
Yeah, but by creating that protagonist, that means that the writers are definitely like for whatever that antagonist is also doing.
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Like, that's clearly how things are written.
Yeah, that's how they write things. So I looked it up, and there is another big movie about this called Escaping the Madhouse, the Nelly Bly story.
Oh.
And it stars Christina Ricci.
What? When was that?
Guess what? It's on Roku. So
Okay.
it's on Roku. It's got 62% Rotten Tomatoes, which I mean, who knows what that means anymore.
But who's
It was
Tomatoes?
It was released in 2019.
I like to know the audience score.
19.
Oh, so it's like recent.
Yeah. Might have to watch this.
What? Oh, Escaping the Madhouse. Oh, okay.
I guess we all know we're doing this tonight.
Yeah, we're gonna learn all
I
about
didn't know.
this.
That's pretty cool.
I also love Christina Ricci, so I'm in.
I read this story. What?
No,
I
you're
read
good.
this story. I think I read the story about like Nelly Bly's actual like. I read a short story about it. Like it was like half the book kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right after my divorce. I was like living with my parents, and I was like, it's like I'm in a madhouse. But I remember I read like all these short stories about New York, and this was in it, and I found it so like fascinating because I at the time was like really feeling sorry for myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is what this person did.
Yeah.
And I'm just eating like
Ramen
at my parents' house. That was my first husband. Then my second husband, we're
way
still
better.
in it. We're still in it.
Way better. 10 out of 10.
Way better. I'm not going to reread this book. No, but it is interesting. So like it is, I keep on thinking about the fact that she's 23 years old.
Yeah.
And so she wrote this thing and she's changed investigative journalism. And what's even more amazing is that the New York World like loved it. They loved it because it got readers, but they also just were like, you actually know what you're doing. So let's just keep on letting you investigate.
Yeah.
So they let her do a lot of, I'm going to move this down.
Yeah, go ahead. They snuck her into a lot of places.
They snuck her in.
They're like, get the lawyers. We're sneaking her into stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's okay. So So she gets done with writing the story. She writes the book, and actually she does a lot of good because she does the reporting, and then I think she helps the state like testifying in like their grand jury.
Okay.
She like works on the grand jury, whatever it's called. She helps like with the I don't know all
to create protections to help people that are in
and
there.
she actually like helped them win all, like additional money. So yeah, so she was able to assist the grand jury investigation that led to reform. So that her writing, like I'm like, how unaccomplished do I feel? Like at 24, I was like barely paying my rent, and she went to an insane asylum, wrote these stories, and then was able to get more budget appropriated to all of the like insane asylums in New York City.
Oh, wow.
Mental institutions,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, no, they were called insane asylums.
Yes,
That's fine.
yes.
The part that's crazy is one thing to keep in mind is that over time with investigative journalism, right? Like this style of investigative journalism where you go in and like maybe you take photographs or you film these days or all these stuff in some states have been made illegal.
Yeah.
So like especially meatpacking plants and like, you know, how butcher plants and stuff like that. Like the meat industry got so angry at Oprah years ago for showing films of like how cows were slaughtered and like the conditions they were kept in because there were people doing investigative journalism the same way Nelly Bly would have done, where they go in, they're like, oh yeah, well I'll be a ranch hand or whatever, and then I'll get the cows to the slaughter. And they'd film it and then post it on YouTube. And then it was slowly, and I think it's like Idaho and Montana.
Arkansas, I think.
Yeah, some of these states, they've gone in and actually banned that because they claim that the entire area, like that entire farm, is actually proprietary information. So even though it's like there's definitely First Amendment bullshit that has to go with this, they'll just say like, no, all this is proprietary. So that'd be the equivalent of like filming how we make the McDonald's secret sauce.
Right. Oh, so it's like trademarked. Oh,
Yeah, they basically are claiming a trademark over like the
Or trade
entire,
secret.
over the entire fucking farm system.
Did you learn a lot of this when you were researching the vegans?
No. I just know this. It's just it's one of those things that hit my brain, I think, in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and I was just like, oh, that can't be good for us as a society.
Yeah.
And then I've just sat here and watched it not be good for us as a society.
That's interesting because they're saying that it's not like just private industry. They're saying proprietary, and once something becomes proprietary, then it can be legally, like you can be held liable and litigious and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. What's interesting with Nelly Bly though is, you know, the first one she was doing was factories, right?
Yeah. So that was.
I was thinking about this because she was first doing factories, but then she went to a public institution.
Yes.
Right. And so like public institutions, like, well, nobody really owns a public institution. So you can rip shit out of them all day. It's like, who's going to get upset? Well, maybe like the mayor eventually would get like a little mad about it, but like not like rich guys who own guns.
Yeah.
Well,
and the
also
newspaper.
think about New York City in the late 1800s was not like, now we look at it and we're like, oh, it's New York City. Like at that time, New York City, people went there because there was a lot of people there. So there was a lot of jobs there. It was gross.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so
People were literally slipping on banana peels.
Yes.
It was actually an issue. That's where the joke comes from. Bananas got very popular.
I know that fact, but every time I hear it, I'm like, this is great.
No, I know. There were just so many banana peels
And then it's
in the
gross
street.
to think that like you just took the train to Chicago and you were slipping on just meat and skins.
Yeah.
A whole different.
Yeah, because they had areas where they were just butchering stuff.
Just butchering and tanning.
Yeah.
You're slipping on stuff, but it's gross.
And they're like, yeah, that's where we put the bean.
Yeah.
It's like now you're like, I touched this big cloud bean and it makes me feel like I'm in space and there's all this great food. And then you go back to like 1887 Chicago and they're like, yeah, so that's where we make all the Polacks murder pigs.
Yes. Well, I mean, the meatpacking district in New York still has a bunch of meatpacking places.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Polacks stealing pigs. I was like, whoa, dude.
Yeah.
It's got us eye towels down there. But she actually wins a lot of money for that. Well, I mean, because she did this work, and it's big numbers, which I think is kind of cool. So the Department of Public Charities and Corrections was increased from $1.5 million to $2.34 million. This is 18 million.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
A lot.
With inflation?
That's like a
it's like a Costco membership.
Yeah, I mean that's like a 30% jump in that thing.
And then $50,000 of that, which is a lot at the time, was specifically designated to Blackwell Island.
Nice.
To their asylum.
That's good.
And then and then they used that money, and then 7 years later, after the expose was published,
They closed it.
They closed it.
Yeah. There it is.
That's usually what happens.
They got to close it down. Come on.
And now people live there,
In condos. With an HOA.
I know. Oof.
Condo fees.
Condo fees.
So she's like, I don't know. What would you do if I did like that after? And I'd be like,
You
well, all the
can't
shit
go hard
that I
in the
did, I'd
beginning.
probably be like,
Yeah, what's your next
Can't
hit
go
gonna
hard
be?
in the
Vacay.
beginning. Like because then it's like the bar's up here. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, but also though, this is a time when like photography isn't as big, so it's like she could still. It's not like she's going in there with a camera.
If there's anything I've
crew.
learned from this podcast, is she just has to move 2 towns over and change her name. She can do whatever she wants.
Yeah,
that's true, especially at that time.
yeah.
And also, her name isn't her name.
Yeah.
So, like,
she could be grifting.
Yeah.
Has she considered grifting?
well,
No, she has too much gumption and moxie.
I know she would never do that.
She's too smart.
Yeah.
She basically secured her place as an exceptional
Journalist at the Pulitzer.
Yeah. So she wasn't a one-hit wonder either, which I think is actually kind of cool. She ended up getting hired by the New York World as a staff writer. I love to put in salaries for $12 a week.
Ooh.
Big money, big money.
Whoa.
So that's about, in today's, it's like $350 a week today.
All right.
But at 23 years old, I mean, that's
24. She's 24 now.
She's 24 there.
That's a
But,
shit
like,
salary.
But no, I'm sorry. I will
Cost
tell
of
you.
living was lower.
No, cost of living
That
was
basically
lower.
would have been like working full time at the Gap in 2001.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like being a manager at the Gap. I know this because I love the movie Reality Bites.
Yeah, making $350.
And she talks about making $400 a week.
Okay.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. So I mean, like I probably would have killed for that. I was
Yeah.
making $12 an hour.
Yeah.
And that probably equaled $12 a week.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but I lived in New York City. I couldn't afford. I don't know what I was doing. But so, all right. So what else did she do? So she decided now, because now she's carte blanche, right? Because,
Yeah.
So she's done this investigating, and she's big hit. She's written this book. Everyone's all like, "Oh, Nelly Bly."
She's so cool.
So she's like, I'm now gonna continue to investigate. But she started drawing from like her time as a child.
Okay.
And so she focused on stories that shed a light on abuses of women and children, because she was like, you know what?
She's still got
Gotcha.
that original letter she wrote to the original
Yeah.
newspaper.
She has it. She's like, I will always be lonely orphan child.
Yeah.
At heart.
At heart.
Okay.
So she's
still using that email account.
So
It's an
she went
Earthlink
back
account.
into the factories and she
Okay.
started exposing the hardships of women working in factories, because she was like,
and now she got that clout too. So she's
Yeah.
like, you can't
Yeah.
say shit, because now you'll get more in trouble if you're like a factory owner. And you're like, we told Nelly Bly to fuck off. It's like, we can't tell Nelly Bly to fuck off, dude.
right. And but also at the time she was still unrecognizable because photography is not as big of a thing. She's basically like, like a stick drawing or whatever.
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
the
she's just
newspaper.
another woman.
Yes,
so she just
totally.
applies for a job
So,
at the radium factory. Whoopsie daisy.
and they're like, yeah, give me your tiny hands. Put this, this little tiny radium in this watch here or whatever.
Don't forget to lick the brush.
Goodbye, jaw.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. It's a terrifying story. I hate that it's
Did you
real.
ever hear? Did
I
you ever
hate
like
that it's real.
around like Philadelphia, like the random radium places, and like the people find out their houses are like filled with radium?
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
It's such an interesting kind of like rabbit hole to go down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read about it. The Muter Museum had an exhibit on the Radium Girls, and they were talking. There was a whole
Yeah.
thing about that.
Oh, wow.
About the radium in the houses in Philly.
Because that's what they really did, is that they like filled in watches and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and they had to paint the numbers on the watch, and
Yes.
they would lick the thing.
Yeah, because you're using a very, very fine brush.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the fun fact is, before everything went awry, because it goes awry in that story,
Yeah.
they would.
What do you ever?
I know. But what would happen is they were hiring like teen girls and young women, and they actually started to glow.
Oh.
Like their whole bodies would be like, they'd have a glow about them, but like they had a glow. So like people would notice them walking down the street because they were literally ethereal because they glowed, and they were like. So they started to be known as like the prettiest girls. It's like being the hottest bartender at the coolest restaurant. Like those were the coolest, prettiest girls. They glowed when we walked down the street. So like it became this job that all the girls wanted because you got paid. You did this thing. You would glow. Everyone know you were the prettiest.
Had a
And
real
then-
glow up.
Yeah, and then of course it all goes awry in the end.
Yeah. And then you lose your jaw.
It makes me think of the receptionist. I'm always going to reference a movie, just FYI. It makes me think of the receptionist in Beetlejuice.
Oh, yeah.
When
Yeah.
she's like, if I knew then what I knew now, I wouldn't have had my little accident. But she's like bright green.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Exactly.
She was probably a radium girl working
Yeah.
for a magician. Okay, so yes. So she's exposing hardships of women in factories and the conditions and circumstances of unwanted babies. because she's just like,
unwanted babies.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, she's
lonely orphan girls.
So she went undercover as a maid to expose bad practices of employment agencies.
Okay. Yep.
Clearly, she didn't do anything because it's still pretty shitty now out there.
Yeah.
But and she bought a newborn baby on the black market. I mean, she was heavily invested.
I don't think you're supposed to go that far. I don't think you're supposed to.
Isn't that what Lindsay Lohan tried to do?
I don't think you're supposed to exchange cash.
Wasn't that the Lindsay Lohan thing a couple years ago? Did she try to grab a baby from a family?
Oh right.
Yeah, she was just like, no, I'm trying to save the baby.
Like Syrian refugees. Or something?
They're like, she's like, no, this is baby's being trafficked, and they're like, by you, stop stealing our baby.
Allegedly.
One time,
she's alive. I'm gonna hit the button on that one.
One time, not one. Well, one time specifically, if you ride public transit in the city of Philadelphia, specifically the subway or the L, people will try to sell things, deodorants, a vacuum cleaner. Sometimes, allegedly, people shoplift things and then they take them onto the subway and try to sell them, along with oils and DVDs and their mixtape, whatever. So it's there's a business model that if you're on the subway and you're on for at least 4 stops, someone's gonna walk by,
try to sell you something.
Try to sell you something. And years ago, this had to be 20 years ago, I was on the subway going to school, and this lady was walking up and down the aisles offering to sell her child. It was a baby. And I was the first thought came across my mind is how much cash do I have? So I buy the baby and give it to the police, or because clearly this woman is going to give this child to someone.
That was your first thought.
Yeah, just like Nelly is I
You're
don't.
So
how do I save the baby?
Yeah, how do I get the baby out of this specific scenario where the baby's being sold in the subway? And then in lieu of that, because my second thought is never exchange cash. For a baby, because again, liabilities. And so then I just called the police and told them what subway train car I was on, and I saw what I saw, and I believe I saw them at 2 stops later, and I was because I was very nervous about it.
Yeah.
But I have bought many a thing off the subway, a vacuum cleaner once,
but not a baby.
Toiletries.
We want to be very clear. You have not
never
purchased
bought a baby. Didn't buy a baby.
So when I used to work in banking, there's a thing called a CTR. It's called a cash transaction report. It's part of the BSA, Bank Secrecy Act, all this stuff. And one of the things is that's been annoying about it is if somebody has $10,001 or 1 penny, over $10,000 in cash, you have to fill out a report. So that's if they withdraw the cash, if they deposit the cash, all this different stuff. And one of the things is you're not allowed as a bank teller, you're not allowed to tell the customers about it. You can't mention, you just have to fill out this report. And some customers know about it, but they don't quite understand it.
Right.
But then they also will bitch because these days, for some of the customers, $10,000 isn't a lot of money. When this was written back in 1984, $10,000 could get you a nice car or get you part of a house. You were you're a fourth of a way to a whole house, a $40,000 row home. You were close to that. And now it's people $10,000. That's not even a down payment.
Yeah.
On a car. You still will have to get a bank note.
Yeah, 100%.
And I was sitting there discussing it with somebody one time, and I'm like, yeah, why don't they raise it? It's stupid. Why is it $10,000? And they looked at me and they said, how much do you think a baby is? And I was like, you can get a baby a lot cheaper than $10,000. Instantly, I was like, have you never been around meth heads before? You can get, I'm pretty sure if I wanted, I'd get a baby for $300.
We should stop talking about buying babies.
I do love that he was how much do you think a baby is? And your first thought was, I
could get a better deal.
A lot less.
Yeah, I could get a much better.
And I'm was that person actually asking you?
Yeah, but
how much do you think a baby is?
But their thought process was basically, and that's what they were told, is $10,000.
$10,000
cash is enough for someone to sell their child. And
I'm sell an organ.
And
I
also,
feel selling an organ would
also,
be
I've been on TikTok Live long enough, and I've seen what parents will do with those fucking kids. They're fucking, a lot of these family channels. Enough about that. Let's get back to 1890, whatever.
So she buys a baby.
She buys a baby.
Baby.
Nelly Bly buys a baby.
And she's like, you guys, you got to see the baby. So she buys this baby on the black market, but she does that. I guess she returns it. I mean, I don't think she keeps it.
How do you return a baby?
You can't return a baby for cash.
Yeah, but you shouldn't return the baby to the people who sold the baby.
Yeah,
I feel
they
once you
can't be
sell a
trusted.
baby, I feel you're giving up all ownership rights.
But like, did you see how she's been like pumping it? Like she keeps on going like a little bit more and a little bit more. Like eventually though it comes to an end because now she's famous.
Yeah.
So she can't be undercover anymore.
So she tries to go undercover in like a police station. For women to show how women are treated at the police station, because she's really all about like making sure that we're exposing how women are treated, and like and the police officers recognize her and they treat her so well
and she's like, damn,
can't write about it. Yeah. And she's like, well, I guess I can't be an undercover.
She Craig LeBond it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Craig LeBond in Philadelphia is a food writer. I don't know if he still does
critic.
it.
He does. He does.
And so for years, he goes into restaurants anonymously and critiques the food and then writes articles, and the LeBond Bells are like a Philly thing on, the best restaurants in Philly. But for years, everybody knows what it looks like. Like, I know that there's plenty of restaurants I worked at where they had a picture of him stickered on the back of the door of the kitchen. Like, everyone knows what LeBond looks like, so that when he comes in, he gets a whole different experience. Not that like we were bad or anything, but like when LeBond comes in, you're like, everything is 100%. Like it's running differently.
Yeah, you're actually going to polish the silverware, not just pull it right out.
Doing a better job.
A great memoir of, I can't remember what the book is, but it was the New York Times food critic.
Yeah,
and she basically used to go into like disguise. She'd go into restaurants 3 times. One is herself, and then like one is an old lady, and then one is someone else. Like, so she would do 3 different disguises.
Oh, that's cool.
And then she would basically average the thing, and she would change. She would use different social security numbers. She'd get different credit cards. She would go like this whole entire thing.
Wait, she committed social security fraud?
Yeah.
I'm gonna find out how good your ravioli is on a Tuesday at 2:30.
It was like so interesting.
I love that investigative reporters of any kind are willing to commit crimes.
Oh, 100%.
Instantly.
Instant
and
crime.
it all started with Nelly Bly.
Yeah.
It's like, in the name of the news.
Yeah.
Okay. So she becomes too recognizable to go undercover anymore.
Okay.
So then she gets inspired by like Jules Verne.
Jules Verne, yeah.
I don't know. Jules Vernon. No, Jules Verne's novel, Around the World in 80 Days. And she decides that she's going to travel around the world, because why not?
What else is she doing?
They're literally willing to pay for her to do anything at this point, because she's getting the eyes on the paper.
Oh, she's getting Tucci.
And at this point, she's
Stanley Tucci.
Yeah.
She's the Tooch.
No.
Did you see the Stanley Tucci Italy TV show?
Of course I did. I have a cardboard cutout of Stanley Tucci at my house.
Oh, no.
I love the Tooch.
So what's very funny, though, is, with that show on CNN, it was on CNN Plus. It was supposed to be one of the selling models.
Yes.
And like nobody got CNN Plus, so now it's just on Max. It's just on HBO's like random fucking channel.
Oh my God!
And like, so we watch it every now and then. The whole time watching, I'm like, it's very good.
I'm just like,
but I'm like,
Tucci
how
got
is
these people to pay for him to vacation in Italy and just eat pasta?
Oh yeah,
for like
2
20
seasons.
Yeah, 22
seasons
episodes, and he's just traveling. Every episode is just like, tonight we're at this really nice restaurant.
Yeah, I'm gonna go meet this chef.
But you know that there's a spinoff, and Ava Longoria does the same thing in Mexico now.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
but we're gonna
because
have to watch
they're
that.
just like this. Also, it makes me so hungry every time I watch it.
Yeah, you have to watch it after dinner.
I think that you should do some research on CNN Plus, because that's an interesting one, because it was pretty.
It fell apart.
Well, I'm pretty sure that it was like pitched as something, and then they knew they were going to be selling.
Yeah,
and so like it was really kind of like a carrot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were what's it called when you make the company look bigger than it is?
Oh yeah.
So that you can have a higher asking price.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And they made Tucci part of that.
But I can.
But the Tooch, the Tooch is involved. But I'm still gonna watch the Tooch.
Have you ever seen that movie, The Big Night that he did with Monk?
Oh,
no,
Alex loves Monk.
I do love Monk though.
It's really good. It's like it's from like the 90s. It's it's about 2 brothers who come over from Italy. They're trying to open up a restaurant.
Okay.
Watch it. It's fantastic. Lots of food.
I feel like pre-2000, every Stanley Tucci movie, like he's wearing an undershirt. It's just like an undershirt and like jeans or pleated slacks.
And he does.
And he's like, I don't wear sleeves.
He still has the hair.
And he has the hairy back, and that's just Stanley Tucci in every movie. Yeah. And he doesn't do the full shaved yet. So he had just that like little bit of like that 80s Bruce Willis hair, and he's just like, I'm the Tooch.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It was before his straight sexiness that happens now. I love the Tooch.
Alex, did you know that Stanley Tucci
All right,
is how
enough.
No, it's how Stanley Tucci is how the TikTok things like he and I on TikTok started.
No, I did not know that.
I'll show it to you later.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I really do have for my 41st birthday, my friends got me a cardboard cutout of Stanley Tucci, and he like sits on our second floor and stares out the back window. I love him.
Okay. So what's Nelly doing now?
She does her trip in 72 days around the world because she's extra.
Okay. She has to beat the number. God.
So she took it took her 72 days to travel the globe, and she gets back to the United States. She earns herself a world record for it.
Oh,
it's called
Guinness.
It's the world record for fastest circumnavigation of the globe.
Okay.
Oh wow. All right.
So she does that. She writes about that, and then she's like, still wants to do like hard hitting journalism. So she actually ends up covering World War One. Like she goes to Europe and she becomes like an embedded journalist in World War One.
Oh my God.
And she's like writing back, like I'm totally gonna do another voice.
Do the voice.
I mean, like, Germans are invading. See, stop. Bombers everywhere. Stop. Americans are dying day after day. Stop. It's a telegram.
Yeah.
Did you get it?
I got it.
Did you get it?
No, because the impersonation should have gone like this. Should be like, beep, 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 beep. That's how she would have been.
I like that the voice that I do is always John Lovitz in A League of Their Own. I'm like, see the grass over there? Don't eat it.
Yeah.
But so that's
what are we gonna do with all these wild animals?
So she goes into Europe and she is on location. And then she does a lot more about industrialization, and then she gets really into the suffrage movement. You were totally right. She does get into the suffrage movement, and she's like really, but like the beginning parts of it, like she's in the parades, and she's like talking about like the movement leading up to movement, because she's, oh my gosh, this is well before. When did women get the right to vote? In the 1920s?
I don't know. When's it getting repealed? That's what I want to know.
Like, you're like twice a year. It's too much. It's too much.
Wasn't it 1917?
No, because that what's his name? The guy who's running now, the Vivek guy or whatever. He's saying that he wants to I don't know. My brain isn't working, but like, there's always the manosphere people are always like, women shouldn't vote.
I always confuse. I knew it was between 16 and 20 because I remember when it was Hillary versus Trump, one of the big deals that they wanted is people wanted Hillary to be elected. So that way we would have had a female president on the 100th anniversary. And instead we ended up with the absolute worst man in history.
What are you talking about? He's only got like 90 indictments. It's not that many indictments.
Yeah, that's not too many.
I mean, I'm Italian. I definitely don't think it's that many indictments. I'm like, what?
You call those big numbers? Get out of here.
What, Moida?
What, Moida? Get out of here.
He's a great guy. Best guy around.
Yeah.
Could not be a better guy. All right.
All right.
Okay.
So she does World War I industrialization. She's doing suffragettes.
She's doing suffragette, and she's like a badass. She does actually get married.
What?
Oh, okay. I didn't see that coming.
So I think she gets married. I'm not sure. I think when she comes back, she gets married after the war. Well, no, it's probably while she's in the war, like that area.
Oh, does she meet a soldier, a European? What's going on?
She comes back. She's married, but her husband dies in 1905. So that means that like during this time, he has like a farm and stuff, and he has like steel barrels, like a distilling process.
Okay.
Like he does like that kind of stuff. And when he dies, she kind of like doesn't do the writing anymore, and she takes over his business. And his business were failing. And guess what?
I guess she turned it around.
She has
the energy that she turns
She turned them around to a huge success.
She got moxie, dude. There's no way around it.
Was he making liquor?
Yeah. She was doing distilling.
Yeah, so she started making liquor then.
She actually introduced steel barrels to the distilling process. And so she turned his failing companies into a huge success. So she ran 2 multi-million-dollar businesses for almost a decade.
That's incredible.
Yeah, she wasn't very old when she died either.
Did she die?
Wait a second. Wait a second. You glossed over something. Did you talk about how old her husband was?
No.
Did you see?
You go for it, Alex.
Did you see how old she was?
No, this wasn't about him.
Okay. I pulled up the Wikipedia.
Yeah, how old?
Because I wanted to see what she looked like at one point. It says here under later work, in 1895, Bly married millionaire manufacturer Robert Seaman.
Nice.
So she was smart.
Yep. Bly was 31.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Seaman was 73.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Due to her husband's failing health, she left journalism and succeeded her husband as head of the Ironclad Manufacturing Company, which made steel containers such as milk cans and boilers. He died in 1904. And then she did awesome.
Fucking go.
Like he was really bad. He had lots of money.
He wasn't great. He had lots of money, but he just kept falling into
Yes.
it. That's what I was reading here. But it's very funny because she basically like Anna Nicole Smith but like had a post plan.
Yeah.
She wasn't just like, and then I'm going to OD. She was like, no, I'm going to fucking.
How dare you suggest that Anna Nicole didn't have a post plan?
I think she had her plan was money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She ran his businesses for a while though.
Yeah, that says that.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that
what's
she
also really
married
cool-
up and then just took the business.
Well, but when she was running those businesses, I think it's really interesting that they really draw a lot of correlation that she like draws from her earlier experience at the Pittsburgh Dispatch and like when she was in the factories there and stuff. And so she ends up valuing and like treating her workers better than anyone.
Yeah.
So not only is she a badass who marries well.
Yeah.
Let's be clear. She marries well. She runs a multi-million-dollar business. And then she also treats her workers extremely well.
Nice.
She ends up doing like physical fitness programs for them, like a health program. And she teaches most of her employees how to read. Like she's like, literally, she was like, if workers are happy, they will be loyal to you and they will do well. And so she like does this whole thing. She's very ahead of her time with like how to treat those workers, which is because it's the early 1900s, right?
Yeah.
Well,
So
That's amazing.
I'm glad that we haven't gone away from that.
Yeah.
she died.
Well, wait, before
She's not alive anymore.
Wait, before she died though, did you see her patent that she made?
No, I didn't see the patent.
She invented a stackable steel trash can.
Yeah, that's what I was like. She did something with steel barrels, but then I think
Yeah, no, it was literally a steel trash can.
Yeah.
She like before that we didn't know how to make a trash can that could be stacked.
I'm looking at this image, and you're telling me this woman is the one that invented the trash can that Oscar the Grouch lives in?
Yes, she invented the Oscar the can trash can.
Incredible.
Yeah.
She changed the course of humanity, honestly.
Yeah. Oh my God. And to think she started out just a normal school.
Just at
the normal school.
Just a normal gal at a normal school. A little orphan.
I've learned so much.
Me too.
I'm just like
And
really,
now we have to watch this movie because I need to see the movie version.
Christina
well, you know
Ricci
that like
movie?
I did this research and like I'm talking to Dugan, my husband, the
Yeah.
whole entire time, and he was like, "So what you're telling me is that she proved that women just like to act crazy so that they can get what they want." And I was like, he's like, I don't really understand. Where this is going.
Honestly, wait, hold on. All right, I see where I understand because she pretended she was insane.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and start. Let's go right back to the beginning. All right.
Let's take it back up. Let's do a synopsis.
Let's do it from the manosphere perspective. All right. So you mean to tell me this? Excuse me. Let's go with her real name, Elizabeth Cochran. She pretended that her name was Nelly Bly. She walked into an office and got a job just because she was a woman. Then she pretended she was crazy for clout. Then a few years later, because she got so much clout that she couldn't even pretend to be people no more, that suddenly she marries some rich dude because she's just like all women, a gold digger. And then because she's trash, she knew how to make trash cans.
Whoa.
Right, yeah.
And then she just goes and travels around for a little while and goes, look at this war, fight harder. And then she died.
Look at this war, fight harder.
Yeah.
That is what they have on her tombstone.
Yeah.
This is an amazing story, though. Honestly, it's a very impressive life.
I'm always interested in like feminism when it comes from the fact that like she actually like we always think of like feminists are people who are like trying to catch up.
Yeah.
And like just whereas she actually led. Like being someone who created investigative journalism in this type of way is not something that exists. Like didn't exist before, and now the way that it exists, it's actually kind of bastardized a bit now.
Yeah.
But like it's kind of cool to think that like, you know, she's like the undercover boss.
I love that.
Like literally the first undercover boss. She's an influencer. She's all this thing.
Yeah, no, she is. She really is all these things. I mean, that's the one thing that like when you get somebody like this, when especially like in the idea of feminism, like if this was a guy, this would be insanely impressive.
Right.
Like just looking at her as a person alone, you're like, this is an insanely impressive person who looked around at the time and figured out how to explain things to people in a way that was very succinct and made people want to make change.
Yeah.
Well, and there was other men in here that you knew their names, but you didn't know Nelly Bly. And like, how do you not know Nelly Bly? She changed the way the like those who were mentally insane were treated in New York. She got more money for them. She was able to buy babies off the black market.
Okay, we gotta stop buying babies off the black market,
but
guys.
she did it. She did it
For
because
journalism.
because she's a feminist.
Oh no.
Is that going to be the?
That's the tag. That's the tag for sure. Buying babies for feminism.
That's a t-shirt right there. That's who Nelly Bly was.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, there's probably a lot more than just like the American Horror Story and then the other movie. That there's other things that she's inspired by.
Yeah.
I do love that she went around the world in 72 days.
I love that she had to beat the record. It feels petty, and I like that.
It's not even a real record. That was the thing. Is like Around the World in 80 Days was just the title of the book, and she's like, "We can do it.
We can do it better."
Technology exists.
Yeah. What? My rich husband's gonna give me some cash. I'm gonna go for a little ride.
I don't think she had met him at that point.
Maybe she met him out there.
That's like when everyone used to say Ginger Rogers. They're like, she danced backward in heels, and they're like, Nelly Bly, she went around the world in 72 days. You know?
Yeah.
That's like the
when you mentioned the part about Mexico, apparently this is from the Wikipedia. She wrote a book called 6 Months in Mexico when she was working as a foreign correspondent down there at the age of 21.
Yes,
which is wild. In one of her reports, she protested the imprisonment of a local journalist for criticizing the Mexican government. The government at that time was a dictatorship under Porfirio Diaz. When the Mexican authorities learned of her report, they threatened her with arrest, and she had to flee Mexico. Once she got home, she then started writing a lot of stuff about the dictator, calling him a tyrannical czar. And that he was suppressing the Mexican people and controlling the independent press down there.
She crossed that border and started talking mad shit, dude.
Yeah. Like when a dog is barking through a glass window, like a sliding glass door.
And then you open it and they're like,
"Hi, what's up, dude?"
No, it's just cool.
One of my favorite memories of my childhood dog was back in the day, there used to be packs of dogs.
Yes.
People just had them loose. Like nobody had electric fences or any of that stuff. Dogs would just roam. And I remember we had this dog and he was always like a little tough guy. And then the neighbor's dog, they had this giant, massive dog, and it walked up onto our porch. And my dog was looking at this dog through the sliding glass window, did not bark. My dog climbed into his own cage with his teeth, pulled the door shut, and then started barking at the massive dog. I was like, you got into a shark cage. Amazing.
I love that he was like, I would do something if I could.
Oh, no, I'm locked up here.
I'm locked up.
They put me in this crate.
You wait until I get out of here.
Wait till they come in here and let me out of this crate that they definitely put me in.
And like, to be fair, the big dog was terrifying. Like it looked like a demon when it came up. And I was like, yo, what, you seeing this dog? And I was looking at my dog. I'm like, you bark at everything. Like every squirrel that's ever existed, you've alerted me of. But this fucking demon, you're like, nah, I'm gonna chill on that till I feel safe. Yeah.
No thanks. I mean, who hasn't done that? Talk mad shit, and then you see a big enemy. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna mind my business.
I just thought it was impressive that she volunteered to go to Mexico.
Yeah.
In the late 1800s. It's like, how do you get there? Like she's taking a train?
Probably taking a train
covered
down.
wagon? I don't know.
No, I think
it's like the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
But the other way.
I think she's taking a train down to like Texas and then crossing the border there. Like that's got to be wild. The other thing.
It sounds so dirty and sweaty, like hot.
Yeah.
Like that sounds so hot.
Yeah, it was pre-air conditioning.
Yeah.
And she's doing it in petticoats.
And she's wearing like the corset too.
The bottom like foot and a half of her dress is probably just gross.
The other thing that struck me was when you were talking about the insane asylum, about how when she just stopped pretending to be crazy, they were like, well, now she's clearly nuts. I remember giving advice to people who I knew were eventually going to be locked up in insane asylums, where I told them, I was like, listen, because I knew some people who were like pretty wild back in the day, and a few of them I was like, you're doing stuff that you're not going to come back from. And I remember looking at this one guy, and I was like, hey man, just to let you know, like when they finally lock you up, like they're not going to let you out until you admit that you're insane and you ask for help. And he like looked at me, he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, you'll get it. And about 2 years later, I ran into this guy again, and he was like, so yeah, I got thrown in an asylum. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, I had to go to a mental hospital. I was like, oh. And he was like, yeah, I was there for a bit. And I remember the first couple of weeks, I kept telling him I wasn't fucking crazy. I'm not fucking crazy. I'm not fucking crazy. And then about week 3, about halfway through week 3, I remember what you said. And I walked up to the nurse and I was like, I'm insane and I need help. He's like, and they got me out like 2 weeks later. And I was like, yeah, man, they probably should have kept you in there. Like, you're a fucking lunatic.
Good job, Alex.
Yeah, so
Alex just releasing people into the streets out here.
It's what I do.
You giving them duster on the way out? What's going on?
So yeah, Val,
thank you so much. This was incredible.
I still can't believe I mean, like, you didn't know about Nelly Bly, and now you
I
do.
did.
And apparently you did know about her.
I did know. I
You
only
watched-
knew because I know that a lot of American Horror Story stuff is pulled from true stories.
I didn't know that.
And so I had known that the character was based on a real person. I just had thought that it happened in the 50s and 60s, not in the 1800s, which makes it way more incredible to me. Because again, like, she went in and we didn't know there was a way out, and that scares the shit out of me.
Well, and also
That's very compelling.
Yeah, but also when you hear about this type of journalism, like you hear about like Black Like Me, or you hear about Upton Sinclair's The Jungle, like you don't hear so much about Nelly Bly. And also kind of makes sense too, because you know she got so famous so fast and so young that she would hit a wall.
Yeah, it was only like it's so concentrated in the time. Like I think she started her job, we said, like at 21.
Yeah.
And I think by the time she was 25 or 26, she was too recognizable
she's
to
too
keep on
famous.
doing it.
What incredible. I'm like, she only had to put in 5 years of hard work, and then she was like, bet.
It's the dream.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like she still did some hard work.
She still did a lot of hard work, but I'm saying she had to do 5 up front.
Yeah.
And
she
then
did some inventing.
She
got a patent.
And then she found that husband and she said, let me tell you about trash cans.
Let me tell you about trash cans.
And she didn't even know what recycling was going to be like. Come on.
She had no idea.
Well, that's been our episode. It's
Thanks
a really
for
great
joining
episode.
us.
Thank you so much. Let's hear it one more time for Valerie Dimambro. We had a great time. Val, anything you want to say to our listeners before you go?
No, thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah. Thanks for being here.
Mrs. P, any final thoughts?
No. I'm sorry my brain doesn't work.
That's fine. Hopefully you sounded like your brain worked.
How often do you guys bring guests on?
You're our second guest.
Wow, that's so fun.
Yeah, you're our second guest ever.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
but really glad to have you on here. Like I said before the show started, you're always one of the funniest people I always knew, and one of my favorite storytellers of all time.
Thank
And
you.
you told us a really great story today. And thank you for lore dumping in this throuple.
Oh, no.